Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and welcome to another episode of Haunted Gaming. Today we take a look at Ratman from GTA 4, the serial killer that supposedly was half man, half rat, and a totally psycho hobo that would hunt you down in Liberty City and cut you up into little pieces in the subways, God forbid if you were headed down there. Now, all myths and conspiracies in GTA 4, or any GTA game for example, have always kind of had a creepypasta attached to them. In fact, I've actually covered the GTA 4 Ratman conspiracy or myth, as you want to call it, in creepypasta form. It's actually existed as that entirely. But this video is very near and dear to me because if you don't remember, a while ago I actually, completely tired out of my mind, actually recorded me hunting for Bigfoot in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It was one of those late night recordings and I was frankly really tired, and it was one of those things that was in my head and I decided why not flip on the recording software and make a video out of it. And this is a very special thing to me because, to be totally honest with you, this is an era of YouTube gaming that quietly slipped away as a new era of YouTube gaming. Currently it slipped in. The era where people attached X-Files music to GTA San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto myth hunting footage and left it where that is. And to an extent, every time I see an open world game with a lot of these kind of myths, I sort of see a resurgence of it. Sure, it might not be, let the bodies hit the floor type deal, or, X-Files or any kind of that conspiracy theory music hitting you, and aliens being shown in every segment, shape, or form, but pretty damn close to it. Today we're taking a look at Ratman. Now, I personally have a history attached with this myself. As a person in high school, I actually ended up hunting for this thing one late night, which we'll get to. For those of you who don't know what Ratman is, Ratman was the myth, one of the main myths in Grand Theft Auto 4 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the PC. In it, essentially what happens is, as you're traversing through the subway network of Liberty City, particularly in Algonquin, which is the second island of the game, you would come across a creature called Ratman, a hobo, half rat, half man, somebody that would run really fast, stay silently, and attack you with such great strength that you would die immediately coming across the character. And as they were killing you, it would scream, "I am Ratman," basically scaring the hell out of any player. A creature that is fast, a creature that is strong, and a creature that stays well hidden is something to scare the hell out of anybody traversing through these subway networks at night. This actually kicked off from a photo that was posted onto the internet. Through whatever form, it was shared around to a bunch of places. And the photo in question looks really interesting because you could see Nico very well. It's one of those photos that was captured off in the early days before cameras and cell phones, I guess, were very good. And it was one of those myth photos that were captured with, which, let's be honest, it had that Bigfoot effect of photo capture. It wasn't exactly perfect, and we could probably tell why it wasn't perfect. But inside it, you saw another character running at you, which literally looked like a rat man. And while it was being blurry, a lot of people considered it to be real. Basically, the myth basically presented itself as if you went into the Easton subway service entrance in Algonquin, which would actually be close, if not the same location you would actually go to or go out from in the mission 3-Leaf Clover, the bank robbery mission of Liberty's of Algonquin of GTA 4. You could come across a blood patch, an orange liquid rather. People assumed it was blood, which to me is really weird to be assuming is blood, because blood usually when it's dried is a darker color. Unless the person had so much iron in it that it would cause a lot of rusting. I don't see how it would turn orange that way, but then again, I'm not an expert on blood color and blood typing and all that kind of stuff. I just know a bare minimum. Now, the same blood actually shows up on top of the abandoned hospital's roof, which is kind of a weird connection. Some people think that it's just blood from hospital victims that might have died up in that area. But it is really weird to be assuming that because, or at least assuming a connection between this or the subway. It's just kind of a weird place. Why those two patches would appear over there? Some people just assume it's actual motor oil stains, if anything, in the DLC versions of the game. But other than that, it's a big connection to be making. While the game does sort of hint towards rat infestations, you can even go to a job section of the crap list web pages in the game, the in-game internet, and come across human lab rats. The actual connection between a rat man and the idea of the blood being the primary evidence is a little weird. Yeah, it's get you to see the blood being seen, and at no point in the game throughout the storyline does the blood ever disappear. You never get any explanation for it on like Weasel News, the in-game radio station, or through the television news broadcast, or through the webpage constantly updating. While the webpage does update throughout every story event in the game, it never really hints towards what the blood could be or those stains could be in both locations of the game at all, at least to my knowledge. And that doesn't really happen in the DLC versions of the game either, whether it be The Lost or Damned or The Ballad of Gay Tony. But that's really the reality of what we've seen in GTA 4. Now, there's multiple other myths over there, but I think the biggest one out of it, and the biggest one that a lot of people could still believe the possibility of, is Ratman. It still holds a level of believability which is almost rivaled by, you could think, Bigfoot from San Andreas. Some people still might think Bigfoot exists in San Andreas, even though both of these, when you look into the game files, has been proven to be absolutely false. Nowhere in the game files do you see any 3D modeling of Ratman or any sound clip of Ratman in any situation. But this character has been linked to GTA 3's Darkle, which is actually a much more interesting topic in my opinion. If you don't know anything about Darkle, at one point a character was actually designed to give you missions about blowing up school buses and flying planes into buildings, but given the release date of GTA 3 and it being around 9/11, that idea couldn't really work too well for obvious reasons. And honestly, just given the nature of the game itself, those are still too dark of missions to be given. GTA 5, on the other hand, is actually a more interesting scenario with Ratman as well, because you get at least a little bit more, I guess, evidence, so to speak, of it. For example, in GTA 5, when you go into the metropolitan subway tunnels of downtown Los Santos, you can actually hear laughter coming from blocked off areas in the tunnels. Alongside that laughter, though, what's really weird is you could potentially hear the strange breathing noises all the way down in the tunnels, which may be the sounds of a Ratman appearing somewhere in San Andreas as well. Now, of course, the reality of this kind of stuff existing is a little interesting. You know, it's something that hasn't been proven in any way, shape, or form, and given the fact that when these games had come out on the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, it was a little harder to get into the file data and look at exactly what the internals were, but given the fact when the PC versions of the game had come out, whether it be for GTA 4 or GTA 5, there was no evidence given at all that either of these things existed. If it did exist, we would have been easily able to find it using software such as Open4, which has a full-on model viewer for anything in the game files at all. Now, you could always run into the conspiracy that these characters did exist in the console versions of the game, whether it be on the last gen or the current gen of GTA 5 or on the PS3 and Xbox 360, but that would be a little bit of a stretch given that a myth like this, I would think Rockstar would want people to find in some way, shape, or form. And even if this existed in GTA 5, given the fact that we're able to look into the files of at least the PS3 version of the game and the Xbox 360 to an extent, would kind of prove otherwise that Ratman would exist in the game. Is it weird to come across this? Yes, it is. But given the fact that we've never been able to find it in GTA 4 and 5, and I'm not counting GTA 3 even though some people make the connection, it frankly couldn't appear in that game, and it really couldn't appear in 4 and 5. I'm going to write this creepypasta or segment of Haunted Gaming off as something that is utterly false. It doesn't really have any basis in believability. But it would be just off if I had left the video off like this, frankly telling you guys about Ratman. The reason I wanted to make this video is it takes me back to a personal era of my time. I actually did an investigation, although back in the day I never had any recording equipment and I couldn't exactly record the experiences of me coming across, or, well, not really coming across, or rather my initial investigation. Back in the days of Xbox 360 when the update came out allowing us to create Xbox Live Party groups, me and my friends got together, we made an Xbox Live Party, a private session of GTA 4's online free mode, and tried to find Ratman. Now, if anything, it's probably easier for you to find Ratman in the single-player version of the game, given the fact that the single-player has more of the AI loaded into it than just the multiplayer segment in of itself. And I think the same goes for no matter which GTA game you're playing, whether it's 4 or 5. Back in the day, me and two of my friends, we went down into the Algonquin tunnels. We did about a 40 to 50 minute search of this section in itself. Did we find anything? No. But one of the biggest spots that you could find is the actual hobo village inside GTA 4. Inside it, we did actually come across somebody running through the area as well. Now, given the fact that we were firing guns all the time, we were popping off shotgun shells, pistols, whatever you name it, rocket launchers to an extent, at some point certain characters will spawn down in that area and run across if given that moment. None of these characters screamed, "I am Ratman," so I was never put into any sort of serious physical danger by a GTA mythical spooky skeleton. But I figured if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go back and show you guys those same areas and sort of guide you through a real-life investigation. So let's go into GTA 4 and check that out real quick.
Alright, so this is going down into the GTA 4 metro tunnels, and over here you basically can get this through the north part of Algonquin. You can get a car stuffed in here if you really wanted to. So we're going to keep on driving until we get somewhere close to, I guess, an entrance, and I'll show you guys the hobo village over here as well real quick. So, of course, you can see it's pretty quiet. You do have to watch out for any potential there's a train coming by. You have to just basically watch out for any train. But there are entrances, subway entrances, where you can essentially find your way to see the Ratman blood. And we're going to head out there real quick. I'll even show you guys a map blip location once I get there. So this is actually Hobo Village, for those of you who are wondering what this location was. Now, at this point, this is where we essentially had congregated at and found out about all the this is where we essentially spent like a majority of our 40-hour-long hunting session for hobos. Now in the online there was no NPCs that were spawned down over here, at least to our knowledge at the time. But when we actually played on the Xbox 360 at the time too, this game wasn't even out on the PC. As we're kind of rushing through, we don't really see anybody over here, so basically you can get them all out of the game location real quick if you just shoot away. They actually did not even... Wait a minute. There we go. Now they're going to run away. So basically over here at this point the hobos should like despawn, or at least like stay still or not make any noise. But this is essentially where you would find like where you're supposed to find Ratman, one of the exact locations. Obviously walking through the area we don't really see anybody sort of pop in. The only thing that runs through here are trains from time to time. And you gotta sort of watch out when you're on the track, unfortunately, because they can kind of come in from anywhere. Again, none of these NPCs really spawn over here. That dude's just running away. But what you would essentially witness over here is, as you're walking around, what would happen is some dude would run at you, scream, "I am Ratman," and basically try to hunt you down and kill you that way. But yeah, that would be one of the many things that you could see through this area if you really wanted to. So inside this is the actual segment where the actual service entrance for the game really is. So at this point in the map, which is actually in Easton, looking around over here, one thing to note is you can actually see where the blood patches are. The little, as you can see, that's where the orange little spots are located as well. So further going into the place, let me actually just bring out a gun, truth be told. And you can actually keep looking around it as much as you want. This is a part of the mission 3-leaf clover when you have to actually escape from this segment. Now over here there's not really any blood at all in this room, but going upstairs there's going to be, I think, a bigger blotch of blood if I'm not mistaken. So running your way up over here, this is just a service entrance for the actual map. You should be able to find a bigger blotch somewhere over here if I'm not mistaken. This is where the NPCs are at. But no, actually, no, that's about the only bit of blotch of blood you can find over there, too. So going down over here, the only thing you can really see is, if I can just do a quick little jump down here. No, nothing over here, nothing at all. This is just another segment of it. But going back up over here, we should be able to just see the blood blotches, which is right down over here. So that's where the first stain starts, it's where the other stain goes to. So it's like you slowly traverse down over here, and you should be able to see every little bit of stain. But yeah, that's about all there really is over here. It goes all the way from over here. There's like these little blotches. If you look very closely, it's almost as if it's the exact same sprite. It's just rotated and twisted around a little bit to make itself look different. So see the pattern of how it spreads out. Compare that to each and every single one of them. It's literally just the exact same one. Just it's the exact same model. Just it's been rotated and skewed a bit just to change up its appearance. But it all stops over here. There's not like there's little drippings or little snippets of it as well. And it's about the only place where you'll actually end up seeing this kind of stuff happen. And that's really where it's all at. So as far as your encounters can really happen, they're always in this general location. So you could always encounter Ratman in this location if you so felt. And at any point, in the darkness, he could run out at you. So obviously, using the cover of the darkness that is available in this, you could have gotten assaulted at any point. So you could literally come out, and because of speed, strength, you would have no, you would actually have no hope of surviving, really, unless you were totally tooled up and ready to go. And that would be the whole investigation of Ratman. So the blood is real. Unfortunately, the actual creature is not, and that can be verified by just looking at the in-game files anyways. So this is the area you're supposed to go to. This would actually be the first place you would escape through in your first heist in the game. All spoilers are obviously mentioned. But in this section of the game, first of all, I only have a pistol, unfortunately. You're supposed to hear the laughing as soon as you get to the end, so we're going to increase the audio as we get closer to that grate over there. Do you hear that heartbeat? That's weird. sir, we're just gonna switch out a character. I'm gonna go switch to Franklin real quick because I feel like I wasn't really listening to anything as Michael for a second. So I'm gonna go back in through the other entrance. Basically, the last one was where we entered in through the heist. So the other entrance for the actual area is somewhere alongside over here. If I can actually just find there it is, the storm drain entrance. This is where you escape from when you're initially doing the Vangelico heist. So we're gonna go down this way. If I can actually drive the vehicle, truth be told. And at some point, we should be going up to the place we need to be headed to. So I'm just going to drive really quickly and get off the bike at this point. So I think it's slightly up here. This is a little longer of a drive. But here you got the other NPC characters doing it. I don't know if this is recreatable in GT Online. Probably not, given the fact that GT Online is a little bit different than just the single-player version. So here it is. And I think from this point in, we can just walk up. So listen for audio as we go through.
Hey, Franklin, where'd you come from? Me and you got business somewhere else. Get your skates on, bro.
Okay, cool. See you later then.
It's been about 20-25 minutes on the record, and not once have I heard the actual laughter coming in from here. But throughout the video, we've actually heard of the breathing sound that was apparently reported for it. And if you guys have been hearing these, it's like a weird heartbeat that's going on about it too. I'm going to raise the audio levels throughout the investigation on the edit, just so you guys can hear it a little bit better. But that being said, I think that's all I can really say about GTA 5's version of Ratman. Progressing through further in the area might net you more things for you to uncover, but I don't think there's much more for me to find over here. Maybe it might happen a little bit different in the single-player campaign, or maybe online. That'll have to be for a later date, or potentially a Haunted Gaming-esque live stream. We're going to go back to actual Haunted Gaming analysis.
Now in GTA 4, well, you got to see what some of the blood smears and all that good stuff, and the Hobo Village was just that, the Hobo Village. Now, in no way is the PC version, as far as I'm considered, they're all pretty much identical, and in no way, shape, or form are you finding Ratman in any of the versions, whether you're playing the online version of the game or the single-player version of the game. But if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot, and if you actually end up finding Ratman by all stretch and imagination, share it with the world. As far as GTA 5 is considered, that one, I really couldn't exactly find anything in either. I mean, some of the stuff, maybe it could have some form of believability into it, especially considering the fact that GTA 5 did in fact acknowledge Bigfoot in one Strangers and Freak encounter. But as far as any of the games are considered, Ratman remains nothing but a myth. But hey, maybe GTA 6 might offer it in at some point, shape, or form. Though, leaving this video off, the real serial killer, at least for GTA 4, exists entirely. If you look into Eddie Lowe, one of the Strangers and Freaks for that game, which is when it introduced, for those of you who don't know, random encounters were a thing in GTA 4, where characters on the streets would randomly give you missions. And Eddie Lowe is one of those people. You meet him 2 times in the game. One of the times you're actually dumping off human remains. And the other time, Nico apparently is judging Eddie Lowe for his sick, depraved actions, causes a combat encounter, and you, Nico Bellic, completely have to waste him or die to Eddie Lowe if you wanted to. Going to his in-game internet webpage is really weird as well, too. You can go to their parody versions of MySpace and actually see some really depraved side. It's almost like looking at an episode of Deep Web Browsing with some satanic cult, to be honest with you. But Eddie Lowe remains just that, a character that you eventually kill off canonically, and he's not Ratman, or at no point was this ever at least hinted to be Ratman. He gives no idea of him being half rat in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't have crazy amounts of speed or strength, but Ratman, to in itself, remains just where he is. I don't know if he's a hobo that exists in the game or not. I don't even know if it's a slight reference to Manhunt's Scarecrow The hobo in that game, which was a actual scarecrow, if you part of the scarecrow gang that was cut from the game. Whether it was a reference to that or whether Ratman exists in any way for the Grand Theft Auto franchise. All I'm hoping is maybe in 6 we might get an answer to it like we get with Bigfoot in GTA 5. It's a myth that's been running for quite a long time in the Grand Theft Auto universe, and while it may not be as prominent as everything else, it spawned a creepypasta in some form of fandom surrounding it. So with that being said, sit back, relax, look up some GTA investigation videos from the old YouTube days, and let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section below. This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, let me know how we can change this to keep making it better. This is me, Mudahar, and I am out.